I was visiting Kulgi Nature Camp in Dandeli for a short visit and decided to go on a safari. On the way to the safari entrance, there is a scenic viewpoint where we briefly stopped. The actual safari entrance is about 3 kilometers from Kulgi Nature Camp, where all vehicles must register before entering the forest. Even after this entry point, the first few kilometers pass through small village settlements. Once we crossed these settlements, we finally entered the core safari zone. Almost immediately, we spotted a group of spotted deer. They looked alert and were all staring in one particular direction. After a while, they moved deeper into the forest and we continued ahead. ಯಾವ್ದಿದು ಮರ ಬಿಳಿ ನಂದಿ We then saw more cheetah deer grazing peacefully in open grasslands. It had rained well, and apparently all the waterholes were quite full. After some time, the track opened up into a clearing. A little further ahead, there was another waterhole, and on its banks lay the carcass of a sambar deer, which was killed by wild dogs recently. We continued further as the track took us deeper into the forest. Soon we came across a lone male gaur grazing near the track. We waited for a while, but since it was busy feeding and never looked up, we moved on. It must have rained heavily as there was a lot of water collected on the jeep tracks. We reached a point where visitors are allowed to walk to a viewpoint inside the forest. The view from here was quite stunning. A wide valley view, perfect for watching the sunset. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to stay back. Swiftlets. At the watchtower, we noticed a colony of swifts that had built their nest on the roof. I also spotted what appeared to be a leopard dropping in the viewpoint itself. The rocks in this area seemed to be porous rocks, and there were clear signs of recent landslides. As we continued, we took a different route on the return. The safari track is actually a loop road, entering from one side and exiting from another. We then came across a large waterhole where a few turtles were basking on a log. It was time to head out of the safari. And near this farm, the jeep ahead actually saw a leopard crossing the track. Unfortunately, we missed out on that sighting. While the other jeep chose to wait a little while, our driver did not show much interest. We then reached the elephant camp near the safari entrance, where visitors can observe elephants from close quarters. After some time, the mahouts guided the elephants back into the forest, where they will spend the night in the wild. Back at Kulgi Nature Camp, the evening was quite beautiful. The sun had just set and the moon was rising above the tree line.
Satellite.
Once it got dark, we could even
That one.
see man made
No clear
satellites
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾ
moving
ಹೇಳಿ ಹೇಳಿ
across the night sky.
ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಡ್ಡ ನಡೀದ್ರಲ್ರಿ
Satellite.
ಅಲ್ಲೇ
Huh?
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಡ್ಡ
Dinner was simple yet tasty South Indian meals, and it was included in the stay package.
ದಾಲ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ
Initially, I wasn't convinced about going for the morning safari due to poor sightings, but later I decided to give it a try anyway. There is a small walkway that connects the camp directly to the safari point. Good morning, guys. I'm going for a morning safari in Kali Tiger Reserve at Dandeli, Kulgi Nature Camp. The ride started at around 5:50 while it was still quite dark. By 6 a.m., we reached the park entrance, completed the formalities, and began the safari.
सर ಇದು ಸಫಾರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ स्टार्ट आಗುತ್ತೆ ह्यांना एक्सप्लेन करून तुम्हाला करतो नाही कळते म्हणजे तर ಓಕೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಸಫಾರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು 2 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ತನಕ ಜನ ಉಳಿತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅದರ ನಂತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೂರಾ ಕೋರ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮದು
The driver mentioned that the safari area has around 4 to 5 tigers, over 20 leopards, and around 30 to 40 elephants. After a couple of kilometers, we entered the core forest area. We reached the viewpoint without spotting any animal movement, and I decided to skip climbing up and stayed in the vehicle. While returning, we took a turn and spotted fresh tiger pug marks, likely from the previous night or early morning. This is when things started getting exciting. We moved slowly while carefully scanning the surroundings. A little ahead, in a clearing, we spotted a barking deer. It looked extremely cautious and kept staring towards the forest patch where we had seen the tiger pug marks. We waited for some time but did not see anything else, so we moved on. The sun gradually rose above the tree line, and it was quite magical to watch the sun rays filter through the branches and light up the forest floor.
ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಟೀ ಕುಡ್ ಮರ ಅಗಲ ಎಲೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ದೊಡ್ಡದೆಲೆ.
The forest remained unusually silent, as if no animals were around. Suddenly, we heard a loud peacock call and also spotted a peacock perched high up on a tree.
ಮಂಗ ಒದರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾದರೂ ಟೈಗರ್ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು.
Around the same time, we heard langur alarm calls, instantly sending our excitement levels soaring.
त्याच्यामुळे कॉलिंग इथं टायगर वगैरे मूवमेंट असू शकते.
We stopped and waited quietly.
ಗಾಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್
A crested serpent eagle, perched on a tall tree, was calling, possibly for its mate.
ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಒಂದು ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಶಿವಲಿಂಗ ಇದೆ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಗಿ.
After waiting for a few minutes, we slowly started heading back. As we rounded a bend, we noticed some movement ahead on the track. Leopard. A leopard had just crossed the road in front of us. We rushed to the spot, but it had vanished by then. Or we thought so. Moments later, we realized the leopard was hiding close by under a tree, and we caught a glimpse of it as it slipped into the bushes. Just when we thought that was the end of the sighting, to our sheer surprise, the leopard boldly returned to the track right ahead of us. It appeared to be actively scanning the bushes for prey or for its mother. We followed it briefly until it leapt off the track and disappeared back into the forest. By the time we reached the spot, it had completely vanished back into the forest. Soon after, we heard a langur whoomp call, followed by sharp alarm calls, indicating that the monkeys had visually spotted the leopard.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಕೂಗ್ತಾರದು ನೀರ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಐತಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ
A sambar deer then gave a loud alarm call, either sensing or seeing the predator. The entire forest seemed to have come alive due to the predator movement.
ಕಡೆ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎತ್ತು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಈಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅದು.
We waited a little longer, but eventually realized the leopard had moved deeper into the forest. So we continued.
Tortoise ಆಯ್ತು ನೋಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ದಾರಪಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಮೆ ಕೂತಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ ಮರ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರ
Back at the large water hole, we again saw those turtles basking on the same log, which we had noticed the previous evening. It turned out to be an incredibly eventful safari. I later learned that there had been no predator sightings for over a week, and ours was the only jeep to get the leopard sighting on that day. Huge credit goes to our driver for his patience and perseverance. After the safari, I went to the nearby timber yard where a great hornbill had been seen earlier. Unfortunately, by the time I arrived, it had flown away and I returned back to the camp. Kulgi Nature Camp offers both cottages and tented accommodations. There are also beautiful artwork depicting the lives of local forest dwelling communities. Regarding Kulgi Nature Camp, we have two types of accommodation here. One is cottages and other is tented accommodation. I'm staying in tented accommodation. It costs around 1600 or something for tented accommodation, and cottages might be closer to 2000. So I'll put the exact rates in the description, and it has to be booked online. And the safari costs are 600 rupees per person, and for children it's 300 rupees. So in fact, today morning after yesterday's safari, I was actually skeptical. I was thinking whether should I go for the safari or not, because anyway there's not much sightings. I thought I'll sleep, but then at 5 o'clock I thought, what if I miss out on something? When you're in the forest, if there is a chance, you don't want to miss out, and I just did that. I just woke up and went for it, and as luck would have it, we got to see this leopard, beautiful leopard. There are around 12 tents in Kulgi Nature Camp, each named after a bird species. Each tent has a comfortable double bed and a clean washroom. I was pleasantly surprised to see a great hornbill fly right into the campus, which was an icing on the cake. The region is rich in bird life, and I definitely need to plan a separate trip dedicated purely for birding.